Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Making Tax Digital for UK Dentists. What a thrilling title. Right, we're going to try and keep you occupied, entertained, and give you some knowledge about MTD for dentists. My name's Aaron, if you don't know who I am, and luckily enough, I've got Natasha, our senior accountancy manager, on the call here with us today. And we're going to be talking about MTD for dentists. It's very relevant. It's upon us. And we're going to cover this in about half an hour. I'm sure you'll have questions. Please do ask questions in the chat if you have them, if you can answer them. But we don't want to prolong the talk either. And obviously you can reach out to us after. So let's crack on. Natasha, how are you today? You okay?
I'm good, Aaron. Thank you for asking. Yeah, good.
Okay. So I'm down in Surrey. Natasha's up in Lincolnshire, but we cover the UK, and we have already quite a few MTD customers coming on board with us, dotted around the country. I think someone from Scotland signed up today, interestingly. So we're getting all shapes and sizes. But let's crack on. I'm going to add these slides to the theme, Bob. Let's go. Right. So we can see that, hopefully. So understanding the transition to digital tax reporting, that's what it's all about. And Natasha's the real expert in this. I'm just a mere bystander. But just for our own benefit, or your own benefits, I've started Samara back in 2002. We've been dealing with dentists for over the last 23, 24 years. We deal with hundreds upon hundreds of dentists across the UK with the accounting, tax, also financing. And then obviously Natasha is our experienced expert in accounting and tax for dentists. She supports and leads a team that does all the work for our clients. And so she's best placed to really share her knowledge and expertise in this area. So Natasha, what is MTD? Go for it. What is it?
Yeah, so it's in short is MTD, which is Making Tax Digital. Okay. So it is a new HMRC legislation that is going to come effective from 6th of April 2026. Okay. So in a nutshell, MTD is keeping all the records digital, right? So what's going to be happen as part of MTD is like you'll be required to submit your income and expense to HMRC every quarter in a digital format, and perhaps in a HMRC approved software. Okay. Just a bit of quicker comparison, Arun. So as part of the old system, you just had to submit one return to HMRC every year. So the way things change is like as part of the MTD, starting from April, you would have to submit 4 quarterly returns to HMRC every quarter. So that is what MTD in a nutshell.
Okay, and I know you're going to answer this later, but they have to do 4 quarters, and then they have to do a final submission as well, correct? By the end of January.
Yes, that's a final declaration as well. That is accumulation of all the returns together. You're going to do a final declaration end of year. And on top of that, you still have to do your personal tax return, that as usual on 31st of January. Due date.
Okay, so that's a separate, you'd classify that as a separate thing, the personal tax return, yes. But the information that's in the quarters will go into the personal tax return anyway, correct?
Exactly.
Why is it being introduced, Natasha?
Yeah, a couple of reasons. So as per HMRC, it's reducing the risk of unintentional customer errors. So everything's going to be digital, not paper-based. It might reduce the errors, okay? And number 2 is like it's saving time when they come in to submit your final return. I think I kind of agree on that. Because every year we kind of struggle to meet the deadline with the clients, and clients also struggle to give the information on time when it's come to return. Now that things has to be done on a quarterly basis, we kind of well ahead the curve before the submission on 31st of January. So it's going to save quite a lot of time when it comes to year-end tax return submission, and supporting wider productivity and less time managing the paperwork. Again, it's fully digitalized. Nothing is paperwork. You can't anymore have shoe boxes. Okay, no spreadsheets. Everything in digital format, which will be inbuilt in a software, right? And it will be enabling HMRs to better tailor the services. So part of the MTD. So what's going to be happening here is like moving forward, HMRC constantly might update the clients via online about the updates. It can be tax liability, the payments, all sort of things. It becomes more visible than before. So that is about the advantages of having this MTD introduced.
Customers' point of view, you think, oh my God, it's just more work, okay, more admin, more things that are coming about. And no doubt it is, but it's on a quarterly basis. But as Natasha quite highlighted clearly, is that if you have your affairs organized and you're quarter by quarter, it will make the end of year process much, much more simpler, which I think is only a good thing. It will save time It'll make it less stressful for accountants, to be brutally honest with you as well, because everything's already been done, or most of the work's been done throughout the year. But I appreciate there's more admin. We're just a mere messenger, so don't please shoot the messenger in this respect.
I would like to add something here. So I understand it's too much admin work, but what I believe is if you have proper system in place, it's pretty straightforward to do, Arun, right? So it's all about how you get the system configured before you make a start from April. So that is really important to just do not have any hassle throughout the process.
Yeah. It's all about the process and getting a good system in place. So exactly. Okay, so these are the key deadlines. What's all this about, Natasha?
So sure. So in terms of how MTD is going to be affected, each individual. So starting from April 2026, anyone who has a threshold income of, which is your turnover, not your taxable profit, by the way, which is 50K and above, would have to report through MTD starting from April 2026. And April 2027, it is further reduced to 30K. So anyone having 30K and above of earnings, which is their turnover, has to report through MTD. And from April 2020, it has been further reduced to 20K. So anyone having 20K and above has to report. So eventually, HMRC would want everybody to compile with HMRC by the time we reach 2028.
Self-employed individual will be something like a typical associate dentist who might well be self-employed. So if they're earning over 50K each year, it's mandatory for them. And if you're a landlord, it's mandatory for you as well, assuming the landlord income is over 50K, correct? Is that right?
Yes, but that is a kind of a tip here. But the reason is, let's say someone has a self-employed income and a property income. If either of one source is more than 50K, they have to do the MTD for both the sources, which include landlord plus your sole trader, regardless of your other income threshold.
Okay, got it. Right. So effectively, as we reach 2028, it's going to basically catch more and more people. This is the first year, but as the threshold drops, more and more people will have to file this. Okay. How will it affect people? What do they need to do?
I just discussed in the beginning. So you will have to, you will have to keep all your records and transactions in a functional, comparable software. So there's quite a lot of software that HMRC has approved for MTD filing. So you should have one of those softwares. And as I explained, spreadsheets are no longer sufficient for that. Okay, but that is another option. I can discuss that later on when it comes to software side of it. And number two is like each quarter, you will need to send the HMRC digital summary of your transactions in the software. That is your income and expense to HMRC. And number three is, at the end of tax year, you use a software to finalize your position of your tax return and submission of your final declaration. So this is how it's going to change post MTD.
So it's all software, and it has to be HMRC approved software.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So do you want to run through the basis?
Yeah. So the basis of qualifying income, which we kind of ran through before. So anyone who are having an income of for the 50K and above in 24-25, that includes the landlords or the rent income or the dentistry income or the sole trading income. It will be from 26-27. So just kind of showing the roadmap. It's a reflection of the same that we just discussed before, how it's going to affect each and every year. So same, the 50K for 24-25, and then for 26-27, for 27-28, and that's how the threshold.
So this is showing this for 26-27. It's using the data from 24-25 to say whether you fall into the being caught to be doing MTD, correct? So okay, that's what that shows. It's showing which year they're using to show you qualify for it. Okay.
All right. I just want to touch base one point here with regards to qualifying income, because some of them might have a question of if someone has started middle of the year. Okay, not everybody may have 12 months of income. In such case, what would happen is, so HMRC would prorate the income, and if that meets the threshold of the MTD, they need to compile with MTD.
Okay, so it's prorated for that.
Exactly, it's a prorate basis. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So what is qualifying income? We alluded to it earlier, but let's make this crystal clear.
Of course, Aaron. So one of the questions that most people have been asked, whether it's taxable income, which is no, it's not your taxable income. It's going to be a gross fee income. In a dentistry point of view, it's going to be a fee income, either private or NHS or together. All right. So if you give an example, if your gross income before expenses could be 25 from rental and 27K from self-employment income, that will be in combination of 52K. So therefore, you report through MTD. So that's
And
how
you
the
have to,
calls
and you have to report for MTD for both the rental and the
both
sublet.
exactly. So which means you're going to have 4 returns for rental and 4 returns for self-employment. To in a year, it's going to be 8 returns to be submitted.
And
Yes.
what
So,
do they have to do to register if they haven't done it
yes,
already?
registration. So the thing is, HMRC would not register you automatically. So that's something you would have to do, or maybe like you need to seek an accountant or tax agent to do that for you. So it's same as you register yourself for self-employment. You need to register yourself for MTD ITSA. Okay. And the problem is like you cannot opt out unless otherwise you had 30K below of income for 3 consecutive years. Okay, so then only you can opt out from MTD. Otherwise, you can't opt out from MTD. So that's the legislation says at the moment.
So, but they have to register themselves, correct? And
so exactly, Aaron, because HMRC would not automatically register you. You need to register yourself. Like you need to do the registration for self-employment, you need to register yourself, or you can get an account. We used to do for all of our clients as part of the onboarding anyway, so it's less hassle for the clients to try to worry about registration.
And I'm right to believe that people are receiving letters and everything like this now.
Yeah, to a certain extent. That is quite a lot of. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
So
if they
that's
qualify,
quite a
they
lot
have
of
to
changes. So with regards to letters, we're not very sure because HMRC has been kind of updating about the HMRC legislations in then and there. So with regards to letters, I haven't seen much, but we're expecting to HMRC clients to receive letter. But nevertheless, I would really request everybody to do the checking by themselves or like seek a specialist to do that for them. Obviously we don't want to fall into a trouble of not reporting to MTD end of the day, isn't it? So
correct.
But as I said, like we need to do 4 quarters in a year. So the first quarter start from 6th of April to 5th of July. So April to July period. And the submission will be due by 1 month and 7 days, which is 7th of August. And the second quarter from July to October. And submission is due by 7th of November. And you have October to January. The submission is due by 7th of February. And you have January to April. The submission is due by 7th of May. So with regards to the period, either you can go without election. So by default, you have 6th to 5th as a period, right? You also can opt in for a calendar period, which you can request from HMRC before you make a start with MTD. So therefore, like you can report through the calendar period from 1st to 30th. So either way, it's fine because like, some of the clients may have the payment date on a different date. It may fall under the tax period or it may fall under the calendar period. So based on the requirement, you can change the elections for the MTD filing.
Okay, all right. So the first submission that anyone has to do is by the 7th of August. So There's still time to get organised for that. But the key is to get organised as soon as possible, correct? Okay, and then once 7th of August, then 7th of November, etc.
In terms of aspects, record keeping. So before MTD, you can have paper or digital records, doesn't really matter. But after MTD, you should have everything in a digital format. It can be your income, your expenses, everything in a digital format. And submission frequency, at the moment, you just have to submit 1 return, which is until 25-26 return. And from 6th of April, there'll be 4 quarterly returns in a year with the final declaration. And data submissions, manual submissions at the moment, which through HMRC, you also can do through HMRC online portal at the moment or paper submissions. But after MTD, you cannot do that. Everything should be done through a digitalized system, a software being approved by HMRC. And with regards to communication, at the moment, is primarily via post or email, mostly post, which I have seen. But after MTD, there's an increased use of digital communication and automated reminders. HMRC might on and off reminding you through digital system. So these are the changes in a nutshell before an MTD.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then software, you mentioned software. So what's all this about?
Yes, software. This is something a very common topic these days. And as far as you may know, we've been exploring quite a lot of softwares. We want to make sure like we come up with some softwares, best ones, especially to meet clients' requirements here, right? So we are kind of working with 2 major softwares. One is Xero and Free Agent. Both are quite good and user-friendly. The interfaces is so easy to understand. And the few difference here. So when it comes to software, you need to bear the cost for the subscription. Okay. So obviously Xero comes with a subscription. So as Free Agent. But just in the pricing term, I would like to inform that Free Agent has a facility, whereas if you have a Royal Bank of Scotland group or maybe NatWest or Metal or Ulster, you get the Free Agent account for free. So you don't have to pay for the subscription. So we kind of offering both the option to the clients, because I totally get it. Like when it comes to MTD, the cost might go a bit high because of extra work that we have to do. So we kind of giving the privilege to client to choose the software based on the banking requirements. And just to pick up key features, so Xero does have the full client, both the HMRC approved, definitely, and it has the bank feeds. Then one of the questions that I've been asked by so many clients about how the banks connects with the softwares. It can be Xero or free agent. So what happens is, like, once you have a bank account, it integrates with the system, the software. So the bank feeds will be available to us. So we do the record keeping based on the bank feeds. And you don't have to do anything. You just, within 90 days, you just have to renew by yourself. But nothing to worry on the software side. I'm kind of understand not everybody might not be able to like understand the software, but we used to cover that for our clients. We used to have like training program in the beginning of the MTD process, make sure they understand how the software works. So that's about the bank feeds, and it has invoicing and payroll. And Xero also has real-time reporting. Once you submit, it just reflects within a few seconds in the HMRC system. And that's wide range of integrations in Xero, which can be useful. One of the things is a feature called HubDoc. Obviously, another question being asked by client, how am I going to give the information to you? So Xero has a feature called HubDoc, which is been integrated with Xero itself. So you can upload the information to HubDoc and we can retrieve it from there. Free agent, again, it's a full MTD ITSA compliant, user-friendly interface. Obviously, it also has a bank feeds, integrates with banks. As I said, like, it comes free with RBS Group, NatWest, Metal, and Alstom. So if you have one of these bank accounts, you get the subscription cost for free. And it also has HMRC quarterly submissions built in. And one of the things, so I've been like talking to lots of clients and lots of people about the MTD these days. I also have some people doesn't want to change anything, just want to keep as it is, not opting for a software whatsoever. So for that purpose, we also have another option where you can have a bridging software, okay, which means you don't have to opt in for any digital software here. So it just, what it does is, like, you just can fill that information in a spreadsheet. It can be useful in a short term, but in the long term point of view, I wouldn't recommend. But if you don't want to have a hassle of opening a bank account, or you don't want to hassle of having a software to be used, you still have another option, the least option, a bridging software. So we also working with the bridging software. So some of the key features is links. So it links with the spreadsheet. All you have to do is like just enter the data in a spreadsheet, and it gets submitted to HMRC through a link. And obviously, it's a minimal disruption to current workflow. As I said, like, you just same as the traditional system, a bit of a different. And free or low cost, and bridging softwares are very cost effective. Either it comes with free or it had a very minimal cost. And we have standard templates that we can use and we can share with the clients if they really want to go with the bridging software. So it's just a bit of an option. So as I said, like, we're open to anything, right? If you really want to, we are kind of opening the door to the clients to pick up the software that they want to go ahead with this. So based on that, we're going to do the configuration and the system setup for that.
There's a few questions coming through here, actually. So we can give a pause and answer a couple of these questions as we go along. So did I hear, good evening, did I hear there was an exemption for the elderly? Is there an exemption for the elderly for MTD?
Yes, they can. They need to request that from HMRC.
And what is the age limit? Is there an age side of things?
There are a couple of things that you need to meet to in order to get the exemptions, Arun. What I could do is I can share some information later on, maybe. There is some link about this. I can share the legislation, yeah. Okay, and then another question we've got. Out of software options for digital records, Xero and Free Agent, which has better AI functionality to reduce time taken for bookkeeping, which has better customer support? Xero, they're going to develop some AI features, but I haven't seen any softwares that could read the associate pay schedule. Okay, if you're asking about the associate pay schedule, whether it could read, I would say I haven't seen anything yet, Arun. Okay, a standard invoice, of course, yes, it can read it, but associate pay schedule is something you need to train the system how to do that. So I haven't seen anything yet, no, from my opinion.
If I could add there, I think that's something that will evolve further. I think Xero
is kind of evolving it, definitely
further down the road on this.
Yeah.
And we did try some other software where they said they could kind of read associate pay statements and take the information, but it proved to be a bit of a non-starter. But if I was, of course, Xero has a charge associated with it, but it's kind of the leading software in the
Of course,
UK for accountants and into this type of thing. So, but I guess you get what you pay for in this respect. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So, what's the roadmap, Natasha? What do people have to do?
Obviously, we've been preparing this for quite a while now, just to make sure clients have been well ahead the curve before it starts, right? So everything is start from the checking the requirements. You need to confirm if MTD ITSA applies to you. So your thresholds, whether your exemptions, everything has to be checked at this moment before it starts from April. And then it comes to the selection of software. You need to choose a software that's been approved by HMRC, which is very important. If you go to just type on HMRC approved software, it will give all list of softwares. And again, not every software is great, so just make sure you choose the best one to make your life easy. And comes the maintain digital records. So as I said, like from now on, please start maintaining everything in digital format. And open a folder, just plug everything inside, just push everything inside there. So it kind of make you see, either you're going to do it by yourself, or you're going to get it done by your content. It is really important that you save everything in one place every month. And integrate the system. So you need to link accounting software with bank feeds. As I said, Xero and free agent links with your bank. So that's something you need to do at the beginning. If you don't do that, it will be going to be really hard for you. And obviously you need to register with HMRC. As I said, HMRC wouldn't automatically register you, so you need to do it by yourself. And you need to submit your quota returns to HMRC, the 4 quotas, and final declaration to HMRC. And finally, the ongoing compliance, just to make sure like the changes may happen, just make sure you're on top of the changes or updates. That's been HMRC been publishing literally every month probably. So just keep an eye on that. So impacts on dentists. Anyone earning 50K and above annually must comply with MTD starting from April 2026. And you need to maintain everything in digital format, in a soft copy format, just to keep things simple. And you must submit your quarterly updates to HMRC via HMRC compliance software. Increase administrative workload and reporting frequency, but with the proper system, this can be mitigated. It shouldn't be a problem at all. Additional cost for software and support services. As I said, you have options available. You're open for the options. And it encourages more for financial and tax planning. So obviously, one of the good things about the MTD is, Aaron, you don't have to wait until the end of year to know your tax liability. So every month or quarter, once you generate it, you just have an indication of your tax liability. It will help you with the cash flow and proper tax planning.
People will have that, realize they haven't got enough money to pay the tax in January. This will help. It's not eliminate it, but it will help. And also it highlights maybe that, okay, how could you reduce your tax liability? If you're having 4 touch points, say with ourselves as accountants, it's the opportunity for you to discuss, okay, what can I do? Should I make a pension contribution? Should I do some salary sacrifice or whatever it might be? That gives an opportunity to talk to the accounting team. Okay. One question, Natasha, before we talk about this, is that obviously this starts from February, from April 2026.
Yeah.
But people still need to do their 25, 26 return, correct?
Yes, of course. They still have to do that. Yes.
So they still need to do their 25, 26 return, which needs to be submitted by January 2027, correct?
Yeah.
But at the same time, this kicks off for 26, 27, and this means quarter by quarter, and then that will feed into the following year's tax return, correct? So the 26, 27. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. So 25, 26 still has to be submitted through the old system anyway. So a bit of overlapping, but it will pick up as the year goes on.
Okay. All right. Cool. So how can we help?
Oh yeah. So we would allow to help. We've been helping a lot of our clients anyway. So we can assist.
We're very busy.
Yeah, a lot. Verbally, yes, quite a lot of things happen in these days. So we can assist with selecting and setting the MTD compliant accounting software. So we have as I said, like we've been exploring quite a lot of softwares. If there's anything that you want to come up, just if you want to need any help to or analyze the software, please do let us know. And we can provide training and ongoing support for digital records keeping. As I said, like we used to cover the training of softwares in the beginning of the MTD process as part of the onboarding. And we can manage your quarterly submissions to HMRC on behalf of you and ensure clients remain compliant with MTD. Obviously, non-submission will fall into penalties. So we don't want you to do that. So make sure like you comply with MTD. We'll be providing reminders. We are good with that. about like when is the payments are due, when the submission is due. We kind of keep on top of it, and offer tax planning services. As Arun straight to say, like one of the element that we could do here is like, since that we're going to do everything on a monthly or quarterly, it gives us more opportunity for tax planning to better claim the expenses, not to miss anything. So therefore, you can reduce your tax liability. So this is how we can help you.
Got a few things that you can get further free information if you haven't been to already. That's a QR code to a website page on our website. And it has a lot of the detail that Natasha's discussed today on there. If you want to pick through that and get some further information, which is all available there. And then, so take a QR picture of that if you need that. And then if you want to have a discussion, if you need any help, or you want to discuss our potential services for you, you can click that QR code and you can arrange a call with Natasha, who's our resident expert on this. We are getting a lot of clients wanting this help. It's a mixed bag. Some people want to do it themselves, but getting the training from us of how to use the software, that's one option. Or we can do all the way to taking it out of your hands and managing for you. So again, if you need any help, the sooner you get on board and get organized, the better, because this kicks off from the April the 6th. It'll just make your life easier, and honestly, it'll make our lives easier, to be brutally honest with you. Any final comments, Natasha?
Not really. As you said, like I've been speaking to quite a lot of clients and non-clients these days about the MTG. So if you need any help, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be able to provide you a free consultations about how to set up the MTG options and sort of things. All you want to make sure like everybody's ready ahead the curve before the April that kicks in. So yeah, happy to help at any time.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Natasha, today. Thank you for everyone attending. We will share this on our YouTube channel, this recording, and we'll also put it on our podcast if anyone wants to listen to it at a later date. And as Natasha said, just go to our website, reach out, book a call, have a chat. We'll be delighted to help you.